I am going to continue to utilize this space to be a contribution just as much for me as it is for you, in the way that it helps me share that yummy space of vulnerability that can then make it so that anyone that is going through a similar process could feel less alone, could feel less crazy, could just receive whatever it is that is meant to be received today. This is your first time. I have mentioned before, what means more to me than anything on creating this is for me to use it as the ability to pull in whomever it is it's meant to pull in. So, as it relates to signal versus noise, something that I found very interesting when things get noisy is what gets activated more than anything from what I'm noticing so far. And as I share this with you, I want to also be honest and share that part of what I've been trying to do this year more than anything is apply all of the things that I've been working on, that I've been putting together, and utilizing it for myself. It's one thing to coach others and to invite others to these awesome tools and different points of views and different ways of doing things. And it's another to practice it yourself. And it's been a lot of that. I think that is the most accurate way of how I can put what these past couple of days have been for me, these past 2 weeks. For starters, just so that you can have an idea, Ollie, my little angel, my dog, my baby, he got sick 2 days ago, and that in itself just throws a wrench, right? Woke up in the middle of the night. Last week he was puking. This week it's the other way. It's coming out the other direction. It's coming out in the middle of the night. Took him to the vet yesterday. He's good. He's got meds. He's getting fluids. But just even that, okay, not even everything else, um, obviously puts a spike, on what the toll that it takes on the nervous system. And for me, what I realized, and it's interesting because there's the theme going on here in these videos. For me, the other thing that I noticed that Ollie activated in me is something that I've been working on. I've been grieving, and according to research, grief can take up to 2 years. I mean, grief is for life, from my opinion, my point of view. Okay. Make sure I'm always clear about that. However, what the research shows in its stages and at its peak is usually within the first 2 years. The first 2 years of my grieving process, I wasn't able to grieve. I take responsibility for that in what happened 2 years after my loved one had passed, which, I even made a video on that because it really came up for me on Father's Day. So for me, this year has felt like year one because it is the first time that I'm giving myself permission to step into any of this at this level. And that's what's creating all this. So overall, I'm thankful. I'm thankful for how things have turned out because they have been my greatest lessons in life that I then get to share with you. So anyway, grief. Within the year that I lost Robert, the same year, 8 months later, I lost the puppy that I had at that time. He was only a year and a half old. His name was Teddy. It was sudden. It was unexpected. It happened so quick in a matter of minutes. And I work through currently even now the guilt of his passing because I had left our pets alone to go hang out, to go have fun. I was living in Puerto Rico at the time, and they were outside. And Teddy was naughty and he got into some soil, and the soil had ingredients in it that are poisonous for dogs. I had noticed he threw up the soil, didn't know at this time about the soil being poisonous. I was used to him getting into stuff. He was a puppy. And within a 24-hour period, um, you know, we lost him. And so anytime Ollie gets sick, it activates some really interesting behaviors in me. It really causes my fear to go through the roof. Um, all the alarms go off, all the bells and whistles go off, because I never want it to happen again. Not like that. I'm at peace with whatever happens to this little guy. I hope he sticks around as long as he does, as long as he can. And within whatever's in my control to keep him safe and healthy. But I definitely, have a trauma. And recently, it was maybe 2, 3 months ago, he even got attacked. And that was, I maybe struggled for about 3 weeks, maybe, of getting through that because anything that makes me feel like I'm going to lose him really activates a lot of stuff. It really brings up a lot of stuff. A lot of skeletons come out and they throw a party. Anyway, so with that in mind, I think Ollie getting sick just activated my nervous system. And I've just been looking at certain areas of my life, questioning a lot of different things. As you know, I recently turned 40. I feel like that milestone in itself creates a lot of self-reflection. And it can be very powerful. I'm not making it wrong. It's just definitely a different stage in life that I'm discovering and enjoying being curious about and seeing all of its difference. Now, today, so with all of that stuff going on and all of the things that I've been working on within myself and in the grieving process that I have finally allowed myself to go through. And there's even more grief other than Teddy and Robert. Um, I'm recently divorced, and it's not my first divorce, unfortunately. As I mentioned before, when you want to learn about patterns, relationships can really teach you a lot. Um, so there's the divorce, um, there's the family that comes with marriage that you lose, friendships. I mean, there's just so much. And even within that marriage, there was one particular individual that passed away related to my ex that I will always hold dear to my heart. And so there's just a lot. There was a lot of loss, I think is the most accurate way to put it. There's been a lot of loss within the past couple of years in different forms: animal, human, a life stage, objects, materials, things that I built, um, dreams. I mean, there's just so many things. And so when this kind of stuff comes up for me, I've been learning to practice allowance. In the past, most of my life, to be honest, and especially, I would say, right before recently, I would say within the past couple of years up until recently, I practiced a lot of positive toxicity or toxic positivity. Not that I am saying being positive is wrong. However, I have learned in my life to see where positivity gets used for suppression, dismissiveness, and avoidance. We use positivity to avoid what's really there and how we're really feeling. We use it to dismiss things because it's inconvenient for those feelings to show up or uncomfortable and we're not ready to see it, or we suppress it like deep down, like, don't want to see that, don't want to deal with that. And so, come these practices of being positive, and not that they're a bad thing. What I teach my clients is it's important to step into positivity after regulating whatever it is that came up, after gathering the information of what you're trying to be made aware of, whether it's your body telling you, whether it's something going on around you. When we're in that autopilot, we could definitely lose sight of that awareness and not be in it. So anyway, as it relates to today, I started noticing or realizing that the more that I step into this allowance and the more that I allow this information to come up, not only is it mirroring a lot of what I'm creating, that I'm so excited that's coming. I talked about it on the last one, actually, part of the epiphany of, what has come up this summer. There's a lot of awesome things going on, which is why it can feel so confusing, because when so much good is happening, but your nervous system is overloaded and triggered, and different things are coming up that were deeply suppressed within your brain and your nervous system. And, it's all finally coming up, and it's all coming up at once. The beautiful thing that I learned today that I want to share with you is that two things can be true at the same time. Several things can be true at the same time. And that's the invitation that I am giving you with today's call. Where in your life are you feeling one way, but also feeling another about the exact same thing? Where in your life are you feeling like you're judging yourself because it's not enough this, or it's not enough that, or it's too much of this and it's too much of that? However, whatever that is can also be so helpful in different situations. So then you hesitate, but wait, this is helpful here. That's because there can be several things that are true at the same time. And many times, what causes us to not explore being an allowance of all these things happening at once is judgment. Judgment creates rumination, and in that rumination starts leading to pressure, and in that pressure causes reaction. And where it's really at is tapping into our awareness, as it relates to that other video that I created, tapping into the signal, becoming aware, being an allowance of what comes up. Because one of the biggest, most profound things that were helpful for me that I've learned from other facilitators is that awareness isn't always comfortable. And it's so important to be okay with that. Because if you're only looking for what's warm, fuzzy, and comfy, you're going to miss out on a lot of things that are trying to get your attention and trying to have you see something that is really important to be aware of. Because again, it's kind of related to that positive toxicity or that toxic positivity. We suppress or we avoid. And then when that happens, we unintentionally, and many times it's unconscious or subconscious, but many times we unintentionally don't even realize that you put up walls that are keeping you from being able to receive that because of judging how it's feeling. You got to be open to that allowance and just let it show up and step into just being an allowance of whatever it is without any judgment. Just really activating that curiosity and activating those questions, because it's those questions that really start opening up even more awareness and bringing that clarity that we're looking for. And the beautiful part about clarity is then you get to have even more clarity on the choices in front of you, choices that will help you, guide you on what you're trying to create and which choice is available that's going to create that for you. The very first one, and then make another, and then make another. But it's about finding enough clarity to make a conscious choice without the judgment, in allowance, and see what that does for you. And for me, where this showed up for me is I couldn't even step into creating today. You know, Thursdays, as I've mentioned to you guys, they're everything to me. Thursdays has become my favorite day of the week because it's the day that I get to focus on all of this, on myself and all of the things that I'm creating for the world. And in order for me to really put myself in a creative space, it's really hard if I'm embroiled in judgment. When I'm embroiled in judgment of myself, my judgment of others, being in a place where I think for a moment, I'm letting myself think that other people's judgments are true. And so for me, the realization of today was very powerful because I was judging myself for being so tired. I started feeling like, man, is this because of my age? Is this because I'm not doing enough of this or I'm not doing enough of that? Well, I'm not doing enough of this because this is missing and I'm waiting for this and this is pending. And, so then it started getting very heavy, very quick. And so I started feeling guilty about being so tired, about having such low energy. But then when I was reflecting on, okay, why am I tired? Well, yesterday I, did facilitation all day. I facilitated a men's group. I facilitated a women's group. I did a couples sound healing. I the day before that, same thing. And I was I've been doing things, prepping for my Access Consciousness class, which I'm excited about, but it also has created, at that time, some pressure of like, okay, I need to make sure that I do this and I prepare this you know, and then I have an amazing idea that I cannot wait to bring to you guys for a project that I'm doing with sound healing. There's a project that I'm doing that I'm going to be creating very soon, that I'm currently writing, and I'm hoping to have it out as soon as possible. I maybe have like 4 or 5 active projects going on all at the same time. And every day I, do my facilitation in addiction recovery. I do whatever I'm doing for sound healing. I'm doing what I'm doing with Access Consciousness. I'm doing what I'm doing within what I'm writing and what I'm creating. I'm doing this. There's a lot going on. And sometimes, like today, there was a moment where I was like, what's going on? Why are you so tired? Today is one of your days that you get so excited to get started. And it was as if my body was like, I don't want to move, girl. You want to do what today? That's cute. And so I've had to work with being an allowance of my body, what my body requires, where my body is at, and not in a way of judging it in its aging, that it's different. It's changing. That is true. It's changing. And as it changes, it requires different things. It requires me to change different routines, different practices. So anyway, I really judged myself on my exhaustion. And then I was conflicted because I was like, okay, well, part of what's making me so tired is my line of work. My line of work, what I do day to day, takes its toll. It requires to hold tremendous space. And as I was reflecting, I was like, well, I can't say that I hate my job because I don't. I really don't. I love what I do. Every time I'm there, even if I'm crawling in and I'm exhausted, the minute that I get in front of my groups and the minute that we just get into it, I lose track of time. I forget where I'm even at. I'm just in the space with them and I'm just walking a journey with them. And I'm honored, to be the tour guide of that journey in the moment, and just really seeing their self-discovery, seeing them expand. It's such an amazing space for me. I've been doing it 2 years now and a year here in Arizona consistently. However, it's not until, and this is when I really noticed it, it's not until the day ends where literally the last client leaves, because I don't just take groups, I take clients one-on-one. So it's not the first layer is when the last group left for the day. Then it's like, whoa, that was a lot. Like, I don't realize it because in the moment, I'm just present. I'm just fully there. I'm just in it. And then when it ends, that's when I'm like, that was a lot. That was a lot. I'm tired. And then I sometimes have individual clients after that. And after they leave, same thing. I'm tired. I'm tired. And then comes the judgment. Maybe this isn't for me anymore. What am I doing? How can I be this person for them, then be this tired person at the same time? I go into judgment. It even makes me emotional talking about it here with you guys. I go into judgment about it. And at the end of the day, both are true. I love what I do. I genuinely love what I do. And I'm exhausted with what I'm doing. Exhausted. And both are okay to be true. I am overwhelmed with everything that I am doing, everything that I'm creating, but I'm in love with it all at the same time. It is fun for me. If I didn't have it, I would be so depressed, is what's wild. So for me, I had to really ask myself a lot of questions today. I had to be in allowance to receive that clarity and to remember I'm not broken. I'm just overloaded. It's just a lot. And clarity doesn't mean that it requires certainty. I don't have to make a decision today about whether or not I need to choose, something different. If it's time to go into a different line of work, what else? All I've got to do is just take it day by day, be okay with how I'm feeling, choose what I can for the day. So, for example, today I chose silence. I chose stepping into silence. I chose stepping into myself, asking myself the questions that I invite clients to ask themselves. And I was so grateful with everything that was coming up. I'm like, wow, it's okay. It's okay to be feeling all of these things at once. It's okay. We are used to answers. We want them right away. Amazon, 2-day delivery. That's what it used to be. Now it's same-day delivery. We want everything fast and we want everything now. And we forget that while we're feeling however we're feeling and whatever it is that's going on, the universe is synchronizing. The universe is coordinating in our favor. And when we get, when, what, how, when is it, and why? That whole energy turns into a wall in itself, an energetic wall. And what does that communicate to? It communicates mistrust. It communicates self-doubt. It communicates fear. And so I had to be okay with the parts of me that are coming up that are merely just the human part of the experience in this lifetime, and in the parts that are actually me, the signal. And I came to realize it's been noisy. It's been noisy, and I'm hungry for the signal. I'm hungry for more of this and more of me. As I work on that self-love, I've come to love that time with me. I've come to love connecting with me, returning to myself. And it's been fun learning the difference. And that's what happened today too, is I was able to tell the difference. When my anxiety was spiking, when everything was so heavy, I was so proud that I was able to identify, this isn't me. This is a lot of noise and it's a lot of weight. There's a lot of heaviness here. Some of it I need to return. Some of it is just noise. And it's me needing to ensure that I ask what from this noise is relevant to me? What is actually the signal? What requires my attention that's going to create more for me? And as I kept coming back to myself and I kept being honest on feeling two different things in relation to one thing of my life, it brought me so much peace. And so I thought to myself, what else is possible if I were to share this with others? Because of everything going on, I haven't been able to make time for this, and this is important for me to do. And so it it was very important to me that when I took the time to reconnect with myself, to get back to me, it meant a lot to me to share the process. For some of you, this might not work. For some of you, you may be listening to this and be like, cool, Vanessa, I'm happy for you. But that doesn't work for me. And that's okay too. Remember, I'm gonna be sharing things just in case. Just in case it is something that can expand your world. Or it's just me sharing with you something that worked for me today. Or maybe today it won't work for you, but it'll work for you next week. Okay. So, some questions that I leave you with in relation to a lot of what I had to work through in order to come back to me and have some peace with everything that was going on in my world, has been going on in my world, is to do a little bit of reflection and ask yourself, have you ever loved somebody and still felt exhausted? Have you ever wanted to be around people, but at the same time, not wanting to be around anybody? Just wanted to be with yourself? Have you ever loved somebody and loved spending time with them, but still found yourself needing space? Have you ever found yourself being grateful while grieving at the same time? Have you ever been excited and terrified all at the same time? Welcome to my world, if any of those are yes. Because that's where I've been. It's been a lot to really just be at peace with experiencing this human experience, because all of the things that we're going through, my favorite point of view with the human experience is from Anita Morjani. I'm a huge fan of her. And Anita, in one of her books, describes gratitude as the whole coin, the head and the tail. But she puts it in the perspective of the good and the bad. Again, two things happening at the same time. Or looking at something and being able to see both sides of the coin at the same time. And the coin is still whole. It's all still part of the whole coin. And that's one of my favorite analogies that she compares it to, is looking at gratitude ultimately, like being okay and being fully in allowance and being in full receiving of everything that life brings us, the good and the bad, the parts that we want to put in the closet under the bed where no one can see, and the parts that we put out in the living room that we want people to see. It's that's my favorite part of shadow work. And that's what this reminds me of too. Integration. Gosh, I've been working on it all year. And I think that's another big part of what happened today. I was able to integrate having two completely opposite feelings and be okay with experiencing them at the same time over the same topic. When I learned shadow work, one of my favorite uh, one of my favorite comparisons that I read was looking at ourselves like a house. The parts that we show people. And it reminded me of positive toxicity or toxic positivity, like I mentioned earlier. It reminded me of that because the living room is what we show people. The attic and the basement is where we put everything we're ashamed of, everything we're afraid of, everything we're embarrassed to show. But when we do that, you fragment yourself and you're only loving parts of yourself. You're only loving one side of the coin. And where it's really at, what this journey is truly meant to teach us, is how to love ourselves unconditionally, how to love the whole coin. And it's not to say that you're making excuses or you're making certain things okay, but it taught you something. Taught you something about yourself, taught you something about life, taught you something about the human experience in general, which is why we're here. And so for me, that integration has meant so much to me. It has opened up so much for me, including today. Today, I'm grateful, ultimately, out of all the things I'm feeling and experiencing and shifting with back and forth, is that I'm genuinely very grateful that every person, everything. I also teach my clients, and it's come up a lot actually this week. I've told them, when people annoy you, when people hurt you, it's an amazing opportunity It's an opportunity to practice. Because that's what it takes. You got to practice. You got to choose this over and over and over again. Whatever it is that works for you, whatever it is that expands you, you have to choose it over and over and over again. Because obviously, whatever you were conditioned to do, whatever you bought into that has created the drama in your life that gets created over and over and over again is because you're on autopilot. You're doing the same thing over and over and over again. And so, in order to create something different, you have to be open to something different. And many times that's starting to practice something different, something new. So, whenever you're used to a certain reaction, you've got to be willing to practice. You've got to be willing to utilize what you learned of what those reactions create. Because if you do want to create something different, you've got to utilize what you've learned and you've got to be able to choose whatever is going to be different. And so when someone annoys you, when someone hurts you in your head, thank them. Thank you. I'm laughing because I'm hearing myself in group telling my clients, thank you, motherfucker. Because with them, I love that I get to be that energy with them. I get to channel that energy. Because when someone pisses you off, thank you, motherfucker. Now I get to practice. You're my pop quiz of the day. Where am I at with this stuff? Okay. That's at least how I've been utilizing it, as a moment to practice. You've got to be willing to practice. You've got to be willing to choose it, so that you can ultimately create what you want to create. And so part of what I'm grateful for today is that among everything that I reflected on and all the different moments that I found myself torn and feeling like I needed to choose a side and wondering, what's wrong with me? Why am I feeling this way? I should be feeling like this, or I should be this, or bleh. It is okay to be feeling all of it. It is okay to be experiencing something in more than one way. So instead of asking, what is wrong with me? Ask, what is asking for my energy right now? What is required? What energy is going to create more? What version of me is going to create more for me? And bringing it back to that, bringing it back to curiosity, getting out of that judgment and just get curious about your feelings. Get curious about your perspectives. Get curious about your beliefs. Because it's within that curiosity that it'll create space for you to actually see what's yours and what's not yours, what's for you and what's not for you, what works for you and what doesn't work for you. What do you want to participate in? What are you done participating in? Who is for you and who isn't for you? It's those moments of allowance, those moments of curiosity. That's where it's at. And so I leave you guys with that. I leave you with those reflections. I leave you with that awareness. Um, I hope it creates some sort of contribution for you. And thank you. Thank you for anyone that took the time to listen to this all the way through. I know I talked a lot. But not even but. And I talked a lot and I'm grateful. Thank you. Have a great week. This is posting towards the end of the week. Have a great weekend. And I look forward to sharing whatever is meant to be shared next. Thank you.